Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and yes, yet again, just to be on the safe side, hello. I have no idea what time of day it is where you are whilst you're listening to this, so I don't want to be exclusive. It's actually just good morning here, heading up to noon. And this is part 4 of the 4th of November's 2014 LEN Live Chat. So let's see if we can do a little mega bit of recording and get it finished. Sibu started with anybody here to chat. Anybody with a capital A, VV, kilometres per hour, I'm going to call you VV, said yes. That would be a capital Y and a full stop. Trablazar came along, said, hi, I have to write a motivation letter in English and having someone to talk with would come pretty handy as I'm not sure about how I have to express myself to be understood. Okay, not like that. Okay, learn your punctuation. Get your punctuation in there. That was horrible to read. It was probably horrible to listen to, but I read it as you wrote it. So, hi, comma, I, capital I, have to write a motivation letter, and I think you meant a covering letter. Okay, but we're not sure. No such thing as a motivation letter. What, a letter to motivate people? I think that's a speech. So probably a covering letter, as Lucia said later. So I have to write a covering letter in English, capital E, comma, and having someone to talk it through with would come in pretty handy, full stop. I'm not sure about how I should express myself in order to be understood, full stop. Okay, so full stops, commas, punctuation helps the reader, okay? Mona said, hi, Trablazar, what do you mean by a motivation letter? Can you give us more details? Exactly, Mona. And Lucia said, hi, Mona, I think what Trablazar meant by a motivation letter is a covering letter. Good. No need for an exclamation mark, Lucia, but I think you were spot on there. I gave you a +1. Vivi also said, oh, by the way, Trablazar didn't come back to us, so this might change how I do corrections, by the way. If anybody asks for something and people reply and they don't respond, I'm probably not going to read it out in the future. But for this week, what the heck, I didn't tell you the rules till now. New rules. Some of the rules on the whole network are going to change as well, okay? So keep an eye open for a change to the way things are run. Vivi came along and said, hello Zeb, how are you? So capital H for how are you, and Zeb is her name, so capital X. Note her, we'll get to that later. I'm looking forward to taking part in Aladdin's radio show tonight. Will you join too? Replied Zeb. Vivi said, oh yes, where I have to join. Okay, oh yes, and then you could put an exclamation mark there. Where do I have to join, or where can I join? And then don't do those little dots, just a question mark straight after the N. It's a hangout on G+ at 9 p.m. Berlin time, said Zeb. Aladdin will probably post the link to the hangout on the forum before it starts in this thread. Blah, 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 blah. Vivi then said, if there is any mistake in my sentence structure, please point out it. If there any way to improve the style, I mean the way I speak, then also help me to change. Okay. If there are any mistakes in my sentence structure, please point them out. Please, Please. If there's any way, note, if there is any way, not anyway, two separate words, A-N-Y space W-A-Y, because anyway is an adverb, and it just means, it's a bit of a throwaway remark, actually. It's used to end the conversation. So, anyway, as I was saying, where was I? So, anyway, let's start again. If there is any way to improve the style, comma, I mean, capital I, the way I speak, actually the way I write, then please help me to change, okay? Zeb said, one solution to improve and surmount all these obstacles is the weekly live chat recording. It replies to everything you are asking. Okay, it gives you a reply to everything you're asking. If it works for me, it may work for you too. I love the use of may because everybody learns differently, and some people may enjoy this and some people may find it really annoying. If you're finding this annoying, switch off, go and find something that works for you. Don't tell me it annoys you, please, because nobody's making you listen. I won't tell you why I'm saying that. You can guess. Okay, so Vivi then said, what is this live chat recording? This is Vivi, okay? Scroll up the page. Don't you see a recording by Learn English Network? Yes, keep calm and explore the network. VVK, there was no reply to that, so let's move on. Aladdin said, LEN radio show is live now, and gave a link to the Hangout. So if you're interested in what Aladdin is doing online on the LEN radio show, get in touch with him here in Discuss or on the forum or in G+. Anything will do. Yeah, keep exploring. Zeb said, my first drama. What a good laugh it was. It certainly was. And Zeb also wrote to Vivi, here you are, Vivi. If you still want to participate, click on the link posted by Aladdin. Oh, I'm not sure if you did, but if you didn't, fair enough, you didn't want to. TSL teacher came along and said, please something give a further clarification on types of clauses. Could someone please give further clarification on types of clauses? Oh, there's loads of them. Do you want clarification? I'd buy a book. Hey, I tell you what, there's a book called the Encyclopedia of English. It's really big and heavy, very good for pressing flowers. We do cover some of the most common clauses on the grammar pages, and we do have a grammar chat page. We try to keep this one a bit light and fluffy because we don't want to scare Zeb away, do we? Zeb actually replied and said, this sounds like grammar. You may like to know that grammar chat is on this webpage. Here it's mainly small talk. Zeb, I'm so surprised you were sending them somewhere else. Hey, do you ever look at the grammar chat page? I'd love to see you there. Majid said, hi, my teacher. Could you please drive me which one is correct? Play coin toss or do coin toss? Okay. Oh, yeah, I remember this one now. Thank you. Okay, so, Majid, I'm not going to drive you anywhere. I hate driving. I do drive, but I prefer to drive when I'm the only one in the car, and then I've got nobody else to terrify. Could you guide me? Okay. Could you please guide? Guide. Could you please guide me as to which of these is correct? And then your comma comes straight after the T, and then play coin toss or do coin toss. Thank you. Sorry, Majid, neither. Okay. Okay, I wrote to toss a coin. The game is called heads and tails. The coin toss is usually what happens at the beginning of a game of cricket to see who will bat first. So it's not a game in itself, it's just a way of betting. Heads or tails, throw the coin up, whoever calls the right one, heads or tails. The head is normally the head of the Queen, of course, in Britain, gets to choose who bats, who bowls first. Okay? Zeb said, it seems like you want to play coin tossing. You could also say play heads or tails. Yay, Zeb, exactly. Cameron said, hi, everybody. And Cameron didn't reply, so it doesn't get a correction. Vivi said, hello, Zeb, are you there? Don't you have a G+ account? If you have, then please mention it here. Please, Please. I know PLZ is short for please, but whilst you're learning, write things out in full, okay? When you're fluent, by all means, start shortening things. Zeb said, I have one. I use it for practicing my Spanish. And that's exactly what I recommended in one of the tips. Have different accounts for different languages. One for your native language, probably best thing to do with that would be Facebook. One for the language that you're learning, and that could be Twitter if you're a beginner, or Google Plus if you're a bit more advanced, or any of these other, WhatsApp, and there's loads of them. And if you're doing another language, get another social networking account and use it for that language. So you've got a bit of separation of the different languages whilst you're learning. Vivi then said, then please give the G+ ID to me. Please, Please. Zeb said, OK, Zebik is my ID on G+, but keep in mind that I don't use it for practicing my English, only my Spanish. Yeah, good for you. Then we've got a few people who didn't reply, so I'm going to skip up. I like this, gets through a lot quicker. And then we've got a nice long conversation from Tweety. Hi, Tweety. I always want to say Tweety Pie when I read your name, you know. Hello, everyone. I'm a new member of LEO. I hope you all are help me to improve my English. That was really difficult for me to read, so it might indicate to you it's probably not right. So, hello everyone, I'm a new member of LEO, full stop. I hope you're all willing to help me to improve my English. Hi Tweety, said Zeb. Interacting in English with each other helps a lot. Welcome aboard. Thank you, Zeb, said Tweety. So capital T, capital X, full stop. And Tweety also said, thank you very much, Seb. That's a bit over the top, Tweety. That one thank you is enough. How's your day, Tweety? Asked Seb. Mondays are always a bit tough for me. Why is it tough for you? Asked Neha, popping into the conversation, which is exactly what to do. Don't pop in and say hi. Pop in and carry on that conversation. If you just want to say hi, start your own conversation. Tao said, hi, how are you? Okay, so hi, capital H, how, capital H, R-A-R-E, space Y-O-U for are you, and a question mark. Okay, and that's how not to do it, because Tao, they've already got a conversation going, so it might have been better to keep the conversation going to say, oh, well, Mondays are tough for me because blah, blah, blah. Zeb said, they are the rupture of the weekend when I do whatever pleases me. Do you like Mondays? Tweety went, hello, everyone. Nowadays, all days are same for me, whether it is Sunday or Monday, because after marriage I am doing nothing. I left my job. Okay, so nowadays is actually one word, believe it or not. So Nowadays. I know it seems strange because it's like 3 words together, but that's what often happens in English. We like to stick words together. Yeah. So nowadays, all days are the same for me, comma, whether it's Sunday or Monday, full stop. After I got married, since I got married, I'm not doing anything. You can't say I'm doing nothing. Can you do nothing? It's better to say, it's not wrong, but it's better to say I'm not doing anything. I left my job. It happens a lot, I'm afraid, when people get married. But you might find something to do that stimulates you later on. I don't know if you're not allowed to work or if you left work of your own accord, but don't think of it as doing nothing. Think of it as maybe running the house or looking after the family. Yeah? It's a worthy profession in its own right, okay? Find joy in it. Then Zeb replied with exactly the same sort as me. You could work from home, couldn't you? Lynn, your teacher, it's what she does. It is indeed. Makes the commute to work very short. And I'm ever so good, you know. I get ready for work every morning before I walk downstairs to go into the office. I decided long ago that I had to get into good habits and not just go downstairs in my slippers and dressing gown. Okay. Naya said, me too, but I'm not married. I left my job 6 months before, now preparing for exams to get a new job. Yay, there you go. I left my job 6 months ago would be better. And then comma, and now I'm preparing for exams to get a new job. Tweety asked, which exam? Neha said, I'm looking for a job in bank. Okay, I'm looking for a job in a bank. What about you? Tweety said, Tally, I'm interested in web designing. Okay, actually, Actually, I'm interested in web design, comma, which is why I'm finding that type of job. Okay, which is why I'm looking for that type of job, full stop. Neha said, asked, have you done any training in web designing? Okay, again, have you done any training in web design? Okay, I'm a software programmer. When I was working, I tried to learn Photoshop and web design, but didn't get enough time in office to learn. But didn't have enough time in the office to learn. Okay, and not so much while I was working, I tried to learn Photoshop. And don't forget, the comma after working comes straight after the G, no space. Okay, Photoshop and web design. Yeah, web design is actually a job nowadays. I mean, I design the network web pages. I don't consider myself a web designer anymore because the sort of skills you need now are much more. People want much more artistic stuff than what I can do. I like to keep things nice and simple. I'm available for hire if anybody else wants a nice, simple website, but I don't consider myself a web designer any longer. Okay, then Tweety replied, yes, when I was doing job on that time, training was provided and I have completed my training in web designing and development in PHP. Whew, give me a break. Could you please put some commas in there so I can actually read it and get a breath in between? So, yes, comma. Whilst I was working, training was provided, comma, and I completed my training in web design and development in PHP, Okay, then you wrote, I have used Photoshop but not properly. Now I have lots of time. I'm leaning Photoshop. So I have used Photoshop, comma, but not properly. And Photoshop, remember, is the name of a program, so capital P. Now I have lots of time, comma, and I am learning Photoshop. Learning is Learning. Leaning is, I was leaning on a lamppost at the corner of the street. So if you're leaning on something, you're resting yourself against it, okay? And again, Photoshop, capital P, and don't forget that full stop to say that I finished talking now. Is it complicated to learn how to use Photoshop? I would say, Zeb, there, is Photoshop complicated to learn, or is Photoshop difficult to learn? Is Photoshop a complicated program? Yeah, difficult or complicated? I don't think it can be complicated to learn. Difficult to learn, maybe. And I replied, it depends what you want to do with it, but there are lots of resources out there that help you learn how to use it. And there are lots of free resources on Photoshop, which are really, really good. Free Photoshop brushes. Most of them say no commercial use, but we're a not-for-profit, so I figure they mean me. I can use it. Have you done anything with Photoshop? Asked Zeb. And yes, I've done quite a lot of stuff with Photoshop, Zeb. You might have seen it in World. Tweety said, I don't think that Photoshop is complicated to learn. It's difficult to learn, I'd say. And again, Photoshop, capital P, comma, even I enjoy the use of Photoshop. Okay, even I enjoy using Photoshop. Or even I enjoy using it. Because if you put Photoshop in too often, it gets too repetitive. Once you've mentioned something, you can then refer back to it as it. Actually, I think it depends on your interest to complicated or not. Okay, actually, I think it depends on what you want to do with it as to whether it is complicated or not. Full stop. Have you already created anything with Photoshop? Could we see it? Asked Zeb. Not much, replied Tweety. I have just done normal editing images by Photoshop for website. Okay, I've just done normal image editing and done with a small d, not a capital. For websites, I would put. Whenever I'll make anything by Photoshop, I'll definitely show you Zeb. Okay, if I ever make anything with Photoshop, capital P, I'll definitely show you Zeb. And then don't forget your full stop. That would be nice, said Zeb. Thanks. I guess web designers, especially if they're freelancers, keep a scrapbook of everything they do. Would you like to work for yourself instead of working for a company? I'm not getting your point, asked Tweety. Could you please explain me how I can work for myself? Actually, I don't know about that. Okay. I don't understand, rather than I'm not getting your point. Okay. Then, comma, small c, could you please explain to me how I can work for myself? And here, myself is one word. Okay. Actually, I know nothing about that, full stop. It just means setting up your own business where the boss and the employee are yourself, said Zeb. Okays, says Tweety. I'll think about it. Just okay. O-K-A-Y. You could say okie dokie if you wanted to sort of stress it. I'll think about it, full stop. Nowadays, I said, with sites like Odesk, People Per Hour, Envato and Elance, it's never been easier to work for yourself. Lol, said Zeb. I usually hear this kind of phrases when I'm turned down for a job or a project. Okay, I'll think about it. Okay, you were replying to Tweety then, not me. So I usually hear this kind of phrase when I'm turned down for a job or a project, or I usually hear these kinds of phrases when I'm turned down, blah, blah, blah. Tweety said, there's no such thing. Actually, I am new in this field. I meant that. I have not enough experience right now. When I have enough experience for opening my own business, then I'll think about it. Okay, I think what you're doing, Tweety, is you're replacing punctuation with a line break. Okay, it makes your writing look like you're doing prose or poetry. So, there's no such thing, full stop. Actually, I'm new in this field, comma, I mean that, full stop. I don't have enough experience right now, comma, but when I have enough to open my own business, then I'll think about it. Okay, and don't forget I, capital I. Zeb said, I think that a good way to develop experience is to do some work for free or as a volunteer. It helps for acquiring experience, developing skills and being aware of what people will expect from you in a professional setting. It's a bit like a sandbox, making sandcastles for training yourself. See, Dora, I think sandcastles are worthwhile indeed. Okay, I think sandcastles are worthwhile. That was a little poke at Dora. Thanks for your suggestion, Zeb. Could you please tell me how can I start it? Do you know the process to start the work? Okay, thanks for your suggestion, Zeb, full stop. Could you please tell me how I could start? Question mark. Do you know the process to start the work? Question mark. For me, said Zeb, trying my hand at something new often starts when I talk with people around me at the pub, my friends, the workplace, etc., about what I'm learning, working on, and the fact that I'm looking for some practical experience. I'd love to have plenty of times in my hands and not have to work at all the things I could do then. Okay, I'd love to have plenty of time on my hands. Yeah? To have time, uncountable, remember time, on my hands. So, sure, said Tweety. Actually, I love to do a job. I'm just desperate about my job. Hope I'll get the job soon. Okay, sure. Actually, I love to work. Okay, full stop. I'm just desperate about my job situation, comma, I hope I'll get a job soon, full stop. Fingers crossed, Tweety. Yes, absolutely, Tweety. I wish you all the luck. And hey, if you want to showcase anything on the network, then please do. We've got Google+, you could share stuff there. We've got the forum, you could share stuff there. So, yeah, you can't share stuff on Discuss, I'm afraid, because I've disabled videos and images just because I can't moderate all of that. But on Google+ group and in the forum you can, and I'll give you a link to a place where there are lots of designers actually. It's a website called Behance. Zeb mentioned a portfolio. It's a very good place to it's a very good place to showcase your portfolio with other designers, get feedback. Of course, you might get your ideas stolen, but think of it as sharing, okay? Okay, so I've just written it down for you, Tweety. I thought, why not try starting a portfolio online? One good site is Behance. It's like LinkedIn for designers, and I've given you the link to the website, okay? So the next couple of posts, the people who posted first didn't reply. So I'll skip that, and even though Tao asked for help when I asked a question, I didn't get a response, so I'll skip that too. Oh, I'm going to get ever so tough on this now. Anyhow, Tao then came along and said, "Hi Zeb, how are you doing?" So, hi Zeb, capital X-E-B, how, capital H-R-A-R-E-U-Y-O-U, doing, question mark. Zeb, asked Zeb, are you sure? I'm sorry, Zeb, said Tao. So, Tao, capital I for I'm sorry, capital X for Zeb, full stop. Ah, the message was really for me then. I'm fine, said Zeb, but as I'm starting the day a bit too early, it's now 5 a.m. here, I wonder if I'll be able to go through it. Okay, I wonder if I'll be able to get through it, not to go through it. You go through something, but to get through something means you survive it. Okay, you go through an experience, and if you get through it, you've survived. Okay, do you usually wake up early, Tao? Tao said, "Good morning. I do now. The time in Israel is 6 a.m. I'm getting ready to go to work. Is it correct sentences?" So, good morning, capital G, full stop. I do, capital I. Now, capital N, the time in Israel. Okay, I just say it's 6 a.m. in Israel, full stop. I'm, capital I, getting ready to go to work, full stop. Is this sentence correct? And that was, but this next one isn't. Don't forget your capital I first. Is this sentence correct? C-O-R-R-E-C-T. You could improve them, said Zeb. The first letter of a sentence is always capitalised in English. A few commas and full stops and a question mark are also missing. No need to fall into a coma for a comma. Comma is C-O-M-M-A, okay? I start working between 9:30 a.m. these days. I still have a few hours for myself before heading to the office. Will you have to commute soon? Tao said, I start working at 7:30 a.m. So I start working between 7 and 7:30 a.m. And there's no need to put an O in front of the 7 if you're putting a.m., okay? 0700 is a.m. or 7 a.m. I get out from my house at 0645 a.m. Okay, I leave the house at 6:45, full stop. My work is 45 monuts away from my home. Okay, I think you meant minutes, unless you had donuts on the brain. M-I-N-U-T-E-S. I work at Global Chemical Company and I'm the laboratories manager. Okay. I work for a global chemical company, comma. I'm, capital I, a laboratory manager. I hope my English incrementally getting well. Okay, is it ill? Okay. I hope my English, capital ENGLISH, is getting better. BETTER. Okay, to get well means you must have been ill. Okay. Zeb, could you please check the paragraph which I have sent to teacher below? I'd appreciate if you could help me. Okay. Zeb, capital X, could you please, PLEASE, to plea is a verb, and you add an S to say she pleads for clemency. Okay. Please has an E on the end when you're asking for somebody to do you a favour. Check the paragraph, small p, that I have written below. I'd appreciate it if you could help me. Okay, I'll check it out, said Zeb. But first, could you edit it to add some capitalisation and punctuation marks? There's an edit button under your message to make corrections. Your English will get better if you use it regularly. As a laboratory manager, do you mean that you only organise and supervise the work of others, or do you also take part in chemical experiments as if you were also a team member? Okay, I would say there, Zeb, when you say laboratory manager, do you mean that you organise and supervise others' work, or do you take part in chemical experiments as if you were also a team member? Thank you very much, said Tao. As a laboratory manager, my responsibility including many domains. Okay, as a lab manager, we often say lab manager, by the way, instead of the whole laboratory. My responsibilities cover many areas. Okay, domains? No, cover many areas. To supervise about the work of the laboratory technicians. Okay, to supervise the work of lab technicians. Taking care to safety and hygiene. Okay, taking care of safety, SAFETY, and hygiene. No need to capitalise. You could also say taking care of health and safety. Okay. Working with contractors and suppliers. Perfect. Supporting and controlling the process data of the facilities. Okay. Supporting, SUPPORTING, and controlling, I put double L, that's because I'm English, the process data of the facilities. Full stop. I'm not sure what you mean by the process data, so I'll have to leave that one. That sounds like specialist language. I have reviewed and corrected the paragraph below. Lynn was faster, said Zeb. She reviewed your text. I'll come back later for chatting. I'll come back later to chat. Okay. Thanks for telling me what it takes to be a laboratory manager, Tao. Is your team a big one? And Tao hasn't come back, so as I say, Tao, if you want me to read out your correction, you would have needed to respond to the question I asked you. Okay. Anyhow, next person didn't reply. Next person changed to guest. So guests aren't going to get read out either. Adita came along and said, "Hi, Tweety, Neha and Janal. Wow, it took 3 hours or more to get reply. Haha." You got a reply. Stop complaining. So capital H, hi. And then don't forget, Tweety, Neha, Janal, capital T for Tweety, N for Neha, Janal, capital J, because they're names. Okay, even if they're nicknames. Then full stop. Wow, capital W. It took over 3 hours to get a reply. Full stop. Neha said, "Are you there, Aditya?" Aditya. Is it Aditya? Yeah. Yep, I'm here, said Aditya. So capital I for I'm. Neha asked, "How was your day? Where are you from?" Tweety also said, "Hi Aditya, how are you?" Just one question mark, Tweety, okay? And Zeb said to Aditya, "Not sure they'll see your message." Exactly. So, another long text coming up, and this is where we came to the beginning of the week, where I should have done all the recordings. And I'm just finishing, ready for the end of next week. Ah, dear. Talk about getting behind with your work. Anyway, I wrote 2014, 1104, LEN Live Chat, and Mike popped straight in and said, "Hello, Lynn, here am I again with my questions." So, here I am again with my questions. Can you give me a couple of examples when you use an expression nuts and bolts? I'd say when you use the expression, or when you use an expression like nuts and bolts. Zeb, ruffle. Zeb started rolling on the floor laughing. Zeb, I said, I was learning the nuts and bolts of responsive design yesterday. After you've understood the bare bones of English grammar, move on to the meat and potatoes. If you want to teach English, you'll need to study the nuts and bolts, which is relatively easy. It's the bells and whistles that will get you. Mike then said, the third question is about expressions now, that and once. Are these sentences mean the same? So do these sentences mean the same? Now that you've taken the exam, you can relax. Once you've taken the exam, you can relax. Zeb said, I guess this question will get its answer in the recording. Yes. Okay, so 2 questions. And it was after the session had ended. So it's very difficult to catch these once the thread has moved on, okay? Should have saved it for this week, although I know there wasn't a live chat this last week, okay? So my third question is about the expressions now, that and once. Do these sentences mean the same? Now that you've taken the exam, you can relax, okay? That would imply the person has just taken the exam, okay? Once you've taken the exam, you can relax. That would imply the person hasn't taken the exam yet, okay? So now you've taken it, it's done. Once you have taken it, it's still got to be done. So I would prefer to be the first person, basically. Mike said, my next question is about a construction. It's time you were in bed. It's time we were at home. When do you use it? Do you use it to rebuke someone for being not on time? Okay, the construction or the constructions. It's time you're in bed, it's time we're at home. When do you use them? And do you use them to rebuke someone for not being on time? My mum used to say, it's high time. It's not about being on time, it's more a strong suggestion to do something. For example, having failed to find a Joomla expert, I decided it was high time I updated the magazine template myself. By the way, it's not quite finished. Just the bare bones have been done. See what I did then? Mike said, thanks a lot. Ouch, imperturbable he is. Exactly. What's responsive design then? Zeb asked me. Have a look at the magazine, I said. Lol, okay, said Zeb. Mike said, so it means technical details if I got it correct. So it means technical details if I'm correct. We're back to nuts and bolts now. I read, spot on. It's kind of the opposite of bells and whistles. I haven't figured out the bells and whistles of Joomla 3 yet. So you're talking shops, said Zeb. And as you now know, Zeb, it should have been, so you're talking shop. I said, being facetious, what kind of shops? Joomla 3 and Techie Web Designs, said Zeb. There aren't any Joomla shops out there. Believe me, I looked. Ha, now I get it. It's talking shop, no S. Spot on. Well done. I grinned. Sounded like you were talking shop, though, but it was just about grammar then, lol. Yes, we were talking shop. I fear that I made Mike disappear, said Zeb. Mike, come back. Promise I'll be quiet. And I wrote, Mike is made of stronger stuff than that, Zeb. No, I'm wrong. The third question has just been released, said Zeb. Mike then said, so bells and whistles mean just a general picture. And I went, no, bells and whistles means the advanced features of something, all the add-ons and frippery. Meat and potatoes would be the general picture. I see, said Mike, thanks a lot. And then I said, all the bare bones. I've written you a new sentence above. Neha then came along and said, so it is correct to say I haven't learned the bells and whistles. I haven't learned the bells and whistles of computer programming. Absolutely, Neha. Yes, all those things that, you learn computer programming to say hello world, and then you realise that you can program a program that will say hello world. Okay, that's it for this week. At last, 33 minutes in. But you can see why I put it into chunks. Otherwise, you'd have been listening to me for the last 2-3 hours, so it's too much. So hopefully you've enjoyed listening to it bit by bit. This is how they are going to be done in the future. So people who are responding to each other, I will read out the corrections. People who just come in to say hi, I'm just going to skip it, okay? Because if you want to know how to write hi, listen to the first 4, 5, 6, 7 episodes of LEN Live Chat. I've just got a bit fed up of going capital H, full stop, okay? So make sure you have a meaningful conversation here, okay? And as I said, questions are fine during the live chat session. Very welcome. Try to keep them within the live chat session, though, because I might not spot your question otherwise. And the best ones, I think, I'll be featuring in the forum anyway, because this is difficult to search, and the forum has an interesting fact. Or maybe I'll start a new interesting fact page, interesting questions page in the actual website, because some of your questions, Mike, are brilliant, and some of the questions other members are coming up with are brilliant. Yeah, the sort of questions other people might want to ask, but don't quite know how to formulate. Anyway, thank you for listening. If you've listened to all 4 of these episodes, I think you deserve a badge. If you're still looking for your corrections, don't worry, I am playing catch up, and having done this week, I hope to catch up with next week, if you see what I mean. Take care, get out there, practice your English. If you do, say hello to people. Make sure you go back and see if anybody's replied. Don't expect instant replies all the time. This is the internet. People have different time zones, and not everybody wants to be on their computer 24/7, okay? But if you see somebody said hi, respond hi to them. It's good practice, and maybe they'll get back to you. Yeah, don't let the fact that some people don't respond put you off. Just keep going, and keep it polite, keep it nice, keep it kind, and if you can't be good, just don't get caught. Bye.